Hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones, and I actually uploaded this app on my phone, or downloaded, or whatever you want to call it. And actually this verse has to do with John chapter 1. And this is the famous John 1:1. So let's read it actually in the Greek, okay? Anarche ein halagas, kai halagas ein pras tan thean, kai theas. I have to scroll up a little bit. Ein halagas. Okay, so let's read it again. En arche ein halagas, kai halagas ein pras tan thean, kai theas ein halagas. Now, this is part of the introduction of the Gospel of John. This is part of the introduction of the Gospel of John. This is part of 18 verses that introduces the book. And there are many themes running through the introduction, which we call the prologue of the Gospel. There is nothing like John 1:1, and that is used by JWs to actually they actually try to use that, okay, in order to attack the deity of Christ. And they tell us, well, there's nothing else like it. Of course, this is the introduction of John, guys. Okay, so that's why it's unique. This is a very unique verse, very, very unique verse of Scripture. And so the first word that appears to your left upper corner is the word en, which means in, here. It can mean other things. It can mean among, it can mean a whole bunch of other stuff. But it is tagged by the Strong's number of index 1722. 1722. It is spelled epsilon and nu. The nu looks like a V in Greek. It's not a V. Like in victory, it's an N. Like in Nancy. Okay, so N means in. And as a matter of fact, it has the word in here. The word, okay, thus in brackets, because it actually doesn't appear in the Greek. If it was here, it would be the dative, because this is in the dative form, arche. Okay, this word beginning. Okay, actually, it would be. Let me see. The dative article will be actually te. Okay, that would be the dative singular and feminine. Okay, so that actually would be here if it was necessary. It is not necessary to write en te arche. Again, te will be the article, so-called definite article, in the dative case. Arche is in the dative. Okay. Now, the spelling of arche is alpha with the soft reading rather, and then rho, which looks like a P, is not a P, is actually an R in Greek, and then you have chi, and that's a CH letter, and then you have the eta with the circumflex. Okay, the circumflex, letting you know that something went on with this word. And then you have, I don't know if you can catch it, but there's a small iota underneath the eta. Okay, that's a wonderful tool that points out the dative. Okay, so so the I can actually subscript. That's why you call it iota subscript. The I can be underneath a vowel, and that only can occur under 3 vowels: alpha, eta, and this is eta, and then omega. So you have I's that could be under vowels. I mean, so that's just the deal. So actually spelled out alpha, rho, chi, eta, iota, actually, but the iota is just subscripted or written under the eta. The eta looks like an N, it's not an N, it's an E. It's a long E sound, like in the word they. So far you have a prepositional phrase, NRK, or in beginning. You have to translate it in the beginning. Again, tell us the Jehovah's Witnesses, so-called, because they're not really witnessing for Jehovah. They're not really witnessing for him at all. They're blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. RK is tagged by the Strong's number of index 746. 746. There is a newer, better, fuller number of index, which is better than the Strong's by miles and leaps and bounds, or by bounds and leaps and miles, okay? And it is the GK number of index, okay? So it has many more Hebrew and Greek words in that system. Now, James Strong, at the time of James Strong, when he invented the system, they didn't know all that people know nowadays about Hebrew and Greek. The vocabulary list wasn't really that compared to this era. It wasn't the same. It lacked, they lacked the understanding of many of these Hebrew and Greek words. Okay, so you have over here NRK, or in beginning, or in the beginning. Again, tell the witnesses that prepositional phrases do not need articles. They don't need articles. It doesn't need to say in the beginning in Greek. Okay, it doesn't need to say that. So like they will say, well, you know something, Logos wasn't really in the actual beginning of beginnings. He doesn't go back that far. Yes, he does. He does. You don't need the article. That's just Greek. You don't need the article and prepositional phrases. Okay? That's just a normal thing of Greek. NRK. NRK. Now, NRK is found in the Greek Septuagint, okay, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, Genesis 1:1. And over there, I can remember that it says, okay, praise God, quote, NRK epoiesen hatheas tan uranan kai tain gain. Okay, so, NRK in the beginning, okay, epoiesen created, okay, and then you have to put that after the verb after the subject in English. So you have to say in the beginning, hatheas, or God, okay, epoiesen, or created the heaven, tan uranan. That's in the accusative case. That's the object, okay, of creation, and kai, tain gain, or the earth. Gain is earth there, and that's also in the accusative, but in the accusative feminine, singular, actually. All right, getting back to John 1:1, however, it says over here, NRK, and then a word comes up that is very critical for this verse. It is found 3 times, okay? Ein. Now, this is from the Amy paradigm, okay? And I'll show you the paradigm in the second session of this, of the tutorial concerning this app, and verse, actually. So Ein, okay, is tagged by the Strong's number of index, and it's wonderful because some Bibles don't have the Strong's number, over this, or it just doesn't have it. But this one does, a 1510 or 1510, and Ein is spelled out Eta and Nu, Eta and Nu. Let me get into some of these markings, okay? So far we have, before I get to that, NRK, Ein, or in the beginning was. Let's get into some of these markings, okay? Oh, markers that you see there on the screen. In front of the letters, above the letters, below the letters, and all that other good stuff. Let's check them out now. Let's get back to N, the preposition, Greek preposition. Okay, now that is a capital epsilon because it's the beginning of the sentence, okay? So, since it's a capital, the soft breathing marker doesn't go over it, okay? It's just too large for that to happen. It might collide with other scriptures that will be above, you know. So what they did, they put the soft breathing marker, okay, to show no aspiration, in front of I can't really say in front of the letter, actually, but besides the letter to the left, because in front will be, where we're looking at, so it doesn't really make sense in front. But you know what I mean, to the left-hand side of the capital letter. Now, that looks like an apostrophe. An apostrophe. It's not an apostrophe. It actually is a soft breathing marker. And you see the opening toward the left? That's letting you know there's no aspiration. There's no H sound that goes before this letter, okay? Now, if it was facing the other way, like an open quote, then there will be an H sound or a presence of aspiration, okay? So I just want to let you know that it's not hen, okay? It's N, okay? It's not hen, it's N because of the marker. A rough breathing indicator will give you an H sound before a vowel. A soft breathing marker will actually give you no aspiration or no H sound, okay? So it's N. Now, let's go to our K. You see the same soft breathing marker over the alpha, okay? And so that's telling you it is ah and not ha. Okay, now if it was facing the other way, like an open quote would, then it will be an H sound, like in the word harmatia, which means sin. Okay. Now note this, that it is above the letter. Why? Because the letter is not capitalized. Okay. Now again, when you go to A to the last word, okay, you see that underneath it is that I that I was speaking to you about earlier, okay? And that's called an iota subscript. Why subscript? Because the I is subscripted or placed or written underneath that vowel. And that can only happen with 3 vowels, A, E, and O, or alpha, eta, this letter, and the omega. Those are the only letters in Greek that the iota subscript can occur, okay? Meaning underneath the actual letter. And then you have a circumflex, okay, above the letter. And what the circumflex can do, it can show you that something happened, that the word morphed, okay, that it changed, that it inflected. The circumflex can also let you know that there is the presence of an acute and a grave marker at the same time, and that has to do with accent. Rising accent has to do with the acute marker, and I can show you that later. And the falling accent marker is called the grave. All right, so you see ain, and ain has the, okay, soft breathing marker, so it's not hain, it's actually just ain, okay, without an H. All right, and then you see the circumflex overhead, tagged again by the number of 1510. Now let's go to the article. The article is not just an article. It is called a weak demonstrative, and man, it could do a lot of stuff. For example, it can be an article, okay, meaning the, like you see here below. And it can also mean, not in this context because you already have a noun, but it can mean in front of in the beginning of the sentence, it can mean that one. It can be used as a preposition, okay? It can be used as a preposition, that one. It also can be used in a construction like ha theas. It can mean, oh God, pointing out special definiteness, like the Father did to the Son, the object of address in Hebrews 1:8, and like Jesus, and like when Jesus said, oh God, in Hebrews 10:7, he uses, I mean, I don't know if he was speaking Greek, but anyway, I mean, it was recorded in Greek, so I'm just going to say that he uses it to point out special definiteness, okay? The omega, when it's the same sound. Oh, like Old Timothy can point out special force, but that's different than showing special definiteness. Okay, the article has to be used. So since the article is used, then theos had to be used in Hebrews 1:8, and that's why there's a lot of confusion. Should God there be should God be the subject of the sentence, or is it a part of a vocative? But anyway, let's get back to John 1:1. It says over here, in arche ein ha. Okay, ha. Ha, the article ha sounds the same like ha in a biblical Hebrew. It's actually hat, but it almost sounds the same. And then ha in Aramaic is sort of the same sound for the article. Now, the what in the beginning was what, or who, or whom? Okay, logos, word. Now this is capitalized. I like that they capitalized. Okay, the lambda in logos. You don't really see it capitalized a lot in Greek editions, but I like that it's capitalized because it is a proper name, okay, and a proper noun, and it is a title of Christ. So why not capitalize it? Now, you see it under the Strong's number 3056, and you see word underneath it, and then you see the transliteration, Logos. Logos means reason, word, logic, etc. The Greeks and the Jews, okay, believed that Logos was the divine being, okay, besides the God in the first century. They did believe this. As a matter of fact, you see that in a handbook translation of the Gospel of John. It's spelled out capital lambda, then small omicron with the acute, gamma, omicron, final sigma. Now the little tiny marker over the first omicron or the first O is an acute accent marker, acute. Okay, and you see that it's pointing like toward what would it be, like what, 7 o'clock? When you see it pointed to 7 o'clock, okay, that means that you rise the pitch of your accent at that point. Logos, you see that? You don't have to over dramatize it, but there is a rise of accent there, right then and there. Logos, you see? Okay, some people pronounce it in this way, logos, especially the Greeks. Logos. They pronounce it more than we do, the accents. So lay stress upon it. So that's an acute. Now, if it's pointing the other way, like toward, let's say, 5 or 4 o'clock, then the thing is that that is a grave marker, and that shows you a fall in accent. Okay, so you should drop the pitch of your pronunciation of the word at the point of the grave. But this is not a grave, this is an acute, so you rise your accent at that point. So capital lambda, then omicron, then the acute marker, and then gamma, which is the G in Greek, in biblical Greek. It can be a Y in modern Greek. But let me tell you something about this gamma. When it appears back to back in a word like angelos, you see alpha, gamma, gamma, then the first gamma becomes an N sounding letter that is called a gamma nasal. It turns into an N, if you will. Okay, well, you don't have that here. You have you have over here logos, I should say. Then you have another omicron after the gamma, and then you have final sigma. And you call it final sigma because this is the S that this sort of S in Greek can only be, okay, let me just restate it. It's kind of hard to talk about Sophite letters. Sophite in Hebrew means final. This style or form of sigma can only be the last letter of a word. How about that? And that's tough to say. So it can't be the first S form in a word. It can't be the second letter of a word. It can't be the third. It can't be the fourth. If indeed there's five, letters in a word or whatever the case may be, it can only be the last letter of a word. So logos, okay, found, and that's easy to remember. That's found 330 times in the New Testament. Logos. As a matter of fact, getting back to arche, that's found 55 times in the New Testament. Not that many times, but it is found. And my opponent actually lied to my audience, Alexander Cruz, because he said in the arche debate, okay, that's not up there on YouTube. He said that only John has this word. That's not true. Paul actually uses this word in Colossians chapter 1, and he uses it in other places as well. It's not used a lot in the New Testament, but it is used by Paul as well. It's not only John that uses this. So far we have NRK ein ha logos, okay? And I just wanted to point out that you can tell that logos is the subject of the sentence because of the case ending. You see the sigma? That's called a morpheme in Greek, or that's called a case ending. Now, the reason why they call it a case ending is because it's in a particular case. Okay, it is in the nominative case. What is the nominative case? Is equal to the subjective case. Now, check this out. Okay, let me see. Timothy was in the park. And so who is the subject of the sentence or the verb? Timothy. Okay? Timothy, because the verb is describing the state of being of Timothy. Okay? So he is the subject of the sentence. He is the subject of the sentence. Like in the same way, you have a subject nominative, okay, in Greek. Okay, the English, okay, language has what, like three cases: subjective case, possessive case, and objective case. And so the thing is that this is the subject. He is the subject of the sentence. So it's going to be that logos is going to end in an S. Now, if he was the object of the sentence, then it would end in a nu. It's not so rigid like that. I'm just giving you rough examples. If it said that the beginning, let me see, was of the logos, right? Like that, then it will be lagu. Then it will be possessive. I'm just trying to invent anything that will give you the genitive. And so the thing is that, since it's the subject of the sentence, it ends in S. Okay, it ends in a sigma. And actually, the article can point that out as well, because the article, okay, is in the nominative case, is a nominative singular and masculine article. And so the noun right after it, okay, has to be nominative, singular, and masculine. Okay. Like, for example, that article ha can't go with Mary. Okay. So the only time that you see something like that is in a genitive of relationship, where you see Jesus the Mary, but the word the ha doesn't refer to Mary because it's masculine. So you have to insert there the word son, and say in your English translation, Jesus the son of Mary. You see? So that's permissible right there to add a word, because you just can't say in your English text, Jesus the Mary. It doesn't make any sense. The ha doesn't refer to her because she's feminine and the article is masculine. So over here, the article is masculine, so you have to have a masculine noun that goes with it. And so you have ha logos. Logos is singular, masculine, and nominative. Okay, the nominative case has like 5 uses that I can remember okay, in the Manual Grammar of the Greek New Testament by Dana and Manti. You have the subject nominative, the predicate nominative, the nominative of appellation. Appellation means name. And this is my favorite of the nominatives, probably. The nominative of exclamation, like when a child cries out and says apples. So that's the nominative of appellation. And so that's the deal. Okay, and the independent nominative. Okay, also. All right. So far you have over here NRK ein ha logos. Okay, logos is the subject of the sentence here in John 1:1, A, B, and C. You have three independent clauses. Now, an independent clause is that each of these clauses, A, B, and C, makes perfect sense in and of themselves. Now, this is a sentence. A part of a sentence like this will be a dependent clause. Check this out. While she was standing, that's a dependent clause. You need something else to fill in the gap to make sense of the clause. You don't have anything like that here. Everything makes perfect sense in and of themselves. Everything is a perfect sentence. Okay. Now let me get back to the word ain, because this is very, very important. The word ain is in the imperfect tense, I should say. That's very, very, very important. That is showing you right in that little tiny word ain from the Amy paradigm that the logos, okay, subsisted in a timeless, continuous, eternal way. Now I was debating a JW, and he was saying, well, the word eternal is not here. You don't need it to be here. Well, the word he doesn't know the article, but the article is not there. You don't need it to be there. Everything is encapsulated in that tiny verb ein, which means to be. It is different from the Greek word egeneto, which means to become. That is found in verse 3 of the things made by theos and logos. Okay, somebody is calling. Let me just let that slide. I wonder if now I don't know if okay, that's okay, because I don't know who it was. Maybe some kind of advertisement or something like that. So I have the communicator on, paired up with my cell phone. It just picked it up automatically. So let me just turn off my communicator wherever it may be. Okay, let me see. Okay, that's all I need is Mr. Spock to call. So let me just turn this off because I have the communicator to actually turn on. Okay, automatically. So let me turn that off. Okay, good. That's all I need is the Enterprise calling me up. So all right, guys. So let's get going here. It says over here, NRK ein ha logos. Okay, and like I was trying to say before Scotty called me, from the bridge, that ein is a very special word here, and it's found 3 times. That is pointing out, like I said before, the timeless, eternal subsistence of the logos. Because this is a continuous thing going on here. Okay? His subsistence. He knew no beginning. Like I was trying to say, guys, is that, okay, that the things that were created, okay, mentioned in John 1:3, that has to do with the Greek word egeneto. That's in the aorist tense. That's a completed action. Okay? Now, ein is not a completed action, okay? And it's showing you the continuousness, okay, of the subsistence of the logos. Listen, it doesn't say something like this. Tell the witnesses this. It doesn't say NRK epoiesen ha theas tan lagan. It doesn't say that. Well, what does that mean? NRK, we know what that means. Epoiesen, we should know what that means because I already mentioned it from Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, where it says over there, NRK, epoiesen hateas, tan uranan kai tain gain. Okay, epoiesen means made or created. It doesn't say that over here. It doesn't say NRK in the beginning, epoiesen made or created. Okay, hateas, and if that was true of this verse, then theos will be the subject of the sentence because he's performing the action of creating. Okay, tan lagan, and then it switches from ha lagas to tan lagan because lagan there, if it was there and it's not, will be the object of creation. He will be the object of the sentence instead of being a subject over here. Okay, we're going to see God being the object of the second clause because it says tan theon, and that's just pointing out that he's the object, okay, of the verb. Okay, over there in John 1:1 B, and I say over there because I can't see it. Okay, you have to go like, I guess you have to go like this, right? Let me see. How do you do that? I think you go like this. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so that's like it says verse 2 and then verse 3. Let's check out verse 3 for a second. It says over here, this is the difference between egeneta and the verb to be. Egeneta means became. Ain means was. Now check this out. I'm glad I can flip on through this app here. It says above there, John 1:3. And so it says panta right there, panta, all things. And it even gives you the transliteration. This is kind of cool. P-A-N-T-A. Now that is transliterating of the Greek word, of the Greek letters, I should say, P alpha with the acute, nu, tau alpha. Okay, that's panta. And the translation of panta is all things. Okay, all things. He made all things. And then it says through, okay, and that's D, and that's just abbreviated, if you will. It's really supposed to be dia, but what they did, they dropped off the alpha and added an apostrophe, which is called an elision. That apostrophe you see under the number 1223, 1223. That apostrophe is called an elision. And, it's just like when we write don't, so we dropped off the O and put the apostrophe. And that's what the Greeks did. They just wrote delta iota, which is DI, put in apostrophe, took out the alpha and put the apostrophe. Why did they do that? Just in passing? Because the next word begins with an A or an alpha, autu, which means him, is in a genitive. And the thing is that to go smoothly from one word to another, they eliminated the a. See, the a, autu. And that's this, I call it a speed bump. Greeks don't like speed bumps. It's called hiatus. They don't like hiatuses. They don't like speed bumps. So instead of dia autu, it's just di autu. You see how it flows? But that's not the most important thing. So far we have over here, okay, panta, di, and it means through, is a preposition, and means through here. And autu means him, and who's him? Well, the logos. Okay, autu is referring to an antecedent. Okay, so egeneta is the next word after that, which means let me see, egeneta. Over here the translation is emerged, meaning the things that they created emerged, or I don't know what translation it is, but it's really became. And after that it says over here, and without, okay, kai chorus, okay, him, autu, emerged not even one thing. Okay, now it says through him. Okay, implying that who we now know as God the Father created all things through Logos. And so when you see something like this, JWs will say, well, you know something? Really, Logos really didn't make anything because it's in the passive voice. But what you have to do is ask the witnesses, well, what passive voice are you talking about? Are you talking about the passive with direct agent? Okay, I believe that's in Acts chapter 22, verse 30, but you can check me out on that. I'll confirm that. And or are you talking about the passive voice with impersonal agent? Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, by grace you're saved. You see, the impersonal agent. It's called impersonal agent because grace is not a person. Or is it the passive voice with intermediate agent? Yes, it's with the intermediate agent. So the thing is that he did create stuff. You know, Logos wasn't a, you know, Casper the Friendly Ghost that you shoot a water pistol or a paint pistol through Casper and you paint or water the wall. And Casper didn't do anything at all. He just stood by, you know, you just shot a water pistol right through him. Boop, you wet the wall and or you paint the wall. And he had nothing to do with the painting or the water or the wall. It has nothing to do with that. He was active in creation. Psalm 33, verse 6 says it very, very clearly that he was active in creation. So I just wanted to point out really agenita, and that's in the aorist tense. Okay, that's in the aorist tense over there. Now, let's go back. Okay, let me see. That's verse 1. Okay, so far we have over here NRK in ha logos. So n is a preposition, and you see over here, let me see, you see PREP. When you see PREP, that means preposition, you know. Sometimes they'll put it like PRE. And so that just means preposition, you know. And then you have beginning over here, or RK. Now, RK can also mean rule or ruler. You have to understand that. You have to tell the witnesses that. Well, somebody may ask me, well, Angelo, where do you see the word RK in the Greek Septuagint translated in that way? Okay.
Call from 91228575509.
I'll just let it pass. Let me just hang up very quickly. Boop. Can I hang up? Let me see. I can. Let me see if I can go back here. Now it's showing me a car or whatever it is. I mean, I don't even drive, guys. Let me see. Now, can I go back to the scriptures? Let me see. Good. I should have. You know what I should have put? I should have put airplane mode on. That's what I should have put. But if I put airplane mode, maybe this is internet based, and then maybe I can't see the scriptures. You know, I don't know. But I might try to do that next time. I apologize. Now, what I was gonna say? RK. That in the Greek Septuagint, okay, you see the word RK in the Greek Septuagint, and it's translated rule. Where is that? Well, in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 27, it says that the eternal God rules. He rules. That's in a Sir Lancelot Brenton copy of the Greek Septuagint, Seca, 1851. And if you see Mouse's Complete Expository Dictionary of all the New Testament words and vines also, you're going to see that RK can also mean rule. You see it in the George Riker Berry Greek lexicon. And that's just it. It does mean rule also. It doesn't only mean RK. It doesn't only mean beginning, I should say. So, NRK ain ha logos. So, N is a preposition. RK is part of the prepositional phrase. Okay, and it is a noun, RK. It is a feminine noun. That's why it says F over there. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't mean beginning. So that's why I see an S over there, and it means feminine singular. Okay, so it is a singular noun. Okay, and is in the dative case. And that's why you see a D over there. I was wondering, what's the D about? And when I looked at the iota subscript, well, that's pointing out the dative. Okay, The dative is the case of the indirect object, okay? So that's why it says N dash D for the dative, F for feminine, and S for singular. So that's just it. So, and then ain is from the Amy paradigm, which means to be. Okay, there's at least 3 paradigms that you should know of the Amy paradigms. Okay, past, present, and future. So you have different paradigms for them. And as a matter of fact, you have an Amy paradigm for the participle own. Okay, that's an adjectival participle. So you know that's an imperfect tense. Okay. Let me describe to you what's the imperfect tense. Let's say if you're watching a basketball game, right? Remember LeBron James going against the Warriors last year? I can remember this vividly. He was going up against Steph Curry, and then Steph Curry was trying to dribble the ball and get around LeBron, and he was doing a lot of dribbles on the right side of the court, okay? And he was dribbling to the left and dribbling to the right and dribbling to the left and dribbling. And I'm gonna see if I can show that video of that when I get this on YouTube, and maybe you guys could see it now in the future. Okay, and so he was dribbling and dribbling and dribbling left and right, left and right. He couldn't get away from him, but then, you know, he turned, I think, to the left, and then he scored. But let's say if you snap a picture of that, okay. If you snap a picture of that, that's the aorist tense. That's not what we have here. If you snap a picture of that action, okay, of the game, you have a snapshot of it, just a picture, not a movie, but just a picture. That's the aorist tense. That's in the word egeneta that we saw in verse. Let me just move it here. In verse 3, okay, egeneta. Which over here is translated emerged or became in other translations. That's the aorist tense. Let me go back over there. Okay, and you see an E, okay, an epsilon before the word. That's an augment. That's like an ED, like in the word liked. Okay, he liked her, ED, you see? But, you know, the Greeks wrote the ED in front of the word. So they put an augment, that's called an augment, okay? And that points out the aorist, the completed action. It's just a little tool to let you know this is an aorist, this is an aorist, this is an aorist. Okay, and so you have the E in front of the verb, pointing out the completed action, of emerging. But now, when I do this, so this is cool. I should teach from this all the time. And so the thing is that you have ain. You don't have an aorist there in the word ain or was. You have the imperfect tense. Okay? The imperfect tense. So like in the basketball game one, and let's say if you have the movie of it, or, you know, like it wasn't a movie, it was a game, but you know what I mean. The game must go on. Okay? And it does. In the imperfect tense, it's just that you're watching the game and it just keeps on moving. Okay? It's like you're in the game. You're in the game. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of being above the game you can't say in a helicopter above the basketball arena, but like in a football game, you're over. Let's say you're in a football game. Okay? That's the picture, okay, of the imperfect tense. Okay, you're in the game. It's an ongoing action, right? But let's say you take a helicopter or a blimp and go over the game and you're seeing the game from above, and that's like a snapshot. That's a completed action, and you have that in the aorist tense in John 1:3. In egeneta, you don't have that here. You don't have the logos becoming. That's the point. That's the point. That the things that became egeneta in verse 3, well, they saw its beginning, its completion. That's in the aorist tense. But this is in the imperfect tense, implying that the logos enjoyed eternal subsistence, continuous subsistence, and it was in of an ongoing manner or nature. Okay, is that clear? Good. Anarchy. Okay, it's like I'm grunting. Oh, I'm going to get this to the witnesses. Ha logos. Anarchy ain ha logos. Okay, so that's the first clause. It's an independent clause. Okay, and John 1:1 is let me see if I can recall what John 1:1. A declarative indicative is a declarative indicative is a declaration of a simple fact, or the indicative system has to do with the mood of reality. Okay, now let's say Plato wrote something, right, which he did. It doesn't have to be true, okay, what he wrote, but it's still a declarative indicative. It's the mood of reality, his reality, so it doesn't make a difference if somebody lies or not. I mean, it's the mood of reality, their reality, or whatever it is the case may be. But we all know this is true, and that's just the deal.
Call from 91779399302.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so the thing is, okay, that's just the deal. So again, I apologize for that, guys. I mean, it's just like what are you gonna do? As long as it's not the Watchtower, it's okay with me. It says over here, NRK halagas. Okay, declarative indicative. Okay, has to do with the verbal system. Okay, and so anyway, let's go on because this is a lot here. Okay, all right. So again, NRK ein halagas. Okay, now in Hebrew it will be Bereshit haya hadavar. Okay, so be means in, it's a preposition, and then Reshit, okay, means beginning, and then haya means was, like ain, and then ha means ha. It's almost the same thing. Okay, it's the in Hebrew and the in Greek. It's really ha, but anyway. And then logos is the word davar, actually in Hebrew. What is it? Davar, davar. So davar is word in Hebrew, and logos is word in the word. Okay, so NRK ain't halagos. So let's check the rest out, okay? So you see a comma there. Okay, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that, because we're starting another clause. Chi, okay, means and. It says it over here anyway. Kappa, alpha, iota. With the grav. You see the grav now? Now that marker is pointing to about what, 4 o'clock? That's gonna let you know that there is a fall there is a decline or a falling in accent. So instead of saying Kai, you just lower down your pitch and say Kai, because it's going down, you see? So if it was pointing to around 7 o'clock, remember, like in the word logos, actually, then you have something like this. Logos, you see? Logos. So you're rising your pitch over the omicron, the first O in logos, because that's an acute marker. So you rise the pitch of your pronunciation. Logos. But now Kai has Kai. Okay. All right, guys. So it says CONJ. What does that mean? It's a conjunction. Just like de is also a conjunction in Greek. Okay. So so it just means and, also, even, or both, but it means and over here. And so then we have another ha. Okay. Now just for the record, the Strong's number above Chi is 2,532. Now, above the article ha, we have 3,500 and, 88. And so ha means da. It's part of the 24 article paradigm, okay? Now, it's part of the singular part of the paradigm. Can I say that? It's part of the singular part of the paradigm? It's too many parts. Okay. So, so the thing is, this is masculine, singular, and nominative. And the paradigm goes something like this, okay? Ha, he, ta, tu, tes, tu, to, te, to, tan, tain, ta. That's the entire paradigm of the singular article, okay? Ha is masculine, he is feminine, ta with the omicron is neuter. It's a neuter article, okay? Like the spirit will be ta panuma, you know. It won't be ha panuma, it won't be he panuma, it will be ta panuma. And then you have your genitive articles, tu, tes, tu, and then you have your dative articles, to, te, to, and then you have your all singular, and then you have your accusative article, the to, te, to, or dative. The accusative articles, a singular part of the paradigm will be tan, tain, ta. Okay, and then your plural part of the paradigm, a set of 12, okay, making it 24, will be hoi, hai, ta, this time with an alpha, the ta, and because it's plural. Okay, so all of those are nominative articles, but, you know, masculine, feminine, and accusative. And then you have your ton, ton, ton. Thank God they're all the same for the genitive plural, okay? All right. So when you say, you know, like the men, it'll be ton anthropon, you know, the men, you know, of the men, right? Of the men. Ton anthropon, you see? And then the dative plural will be tois, tais, tois. And then what? Tus, tas, and ta will be the accusative plural articles, okay? So I just want to let you know that because there are 24. 24 seems to be like this magic, I don't want to say magic, but this sort of magic number in Greek. You have 24 different articles. You have 24 relative pronouns that look like articles that only can be differentiated because some of them are sort of different in spelling, but because you have an accent marker, you know, above the relative pronouns, you can tell them apart from the articles. The articles have no acute or grave markers, but the relative pronoun do, you know, or does. I don't even know English. I mean, all right, guys. So kai ha, okay, and ha what? Well, logos. There's logos again. Check out the second line. Logos, okay, 3056. I said that this what is found 330 times in the Greek New Testament. So logos, okay. Now let's check out what it says over here. I didn't check out what it actually says underneath the word here. It says logos. It says it means word, transliteration, logos, and let me see what it says over here. Okay, so the N will stand, okay, because this is not telling you. It's just giving you a whole bunch of abbreviations like Morse code. It's like, you know, you're working for the DVX or the WSB or something like that in General Hospital. So you have N means noun, and then you have a dash, and then the N means nominative, the M means masculine, and the S means singular. Okay, that's what it means underneath all that stuff. Praise God. He gets the glory, not me. So logos, okay, is masculine, a nominative masculine singular. Okay, noun. So you see the case ending again. Now, why does it have the sigma again in logos? What's the deal with that? Well, because he's the subject of the sentence. So it has to be the nominative case construction. Okay? Now, if it said words, a plural, then instead of the S, you'll see the I. It'll be logoi for more than one word, but it's only one word. One. There's only one. It doesn't say, let me pull this up or pull this down again over here. It doesn't say NRK ein hoi lagoi. It doesn't say hoi lagoi. Now, hoi will imply more than one. Lagoi will imply more than one word. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say NRK ein hoi lagoi. It says NRK ein ha logos. One word. And masculine, by the way. You understand? That's what it says. That's what it says. Kai ha. Am I still recording? Let me check it out. Because those telephone calls may have made a may have stopped everything, guys. All right, and well, where am I? Oh, okay. And I'm just trying to trying to have some fun with you guys. NRK in ha lagos, not hoi lagoi. Okay, and as a matter of fact, the verb would have changed. Okay, it would have changed to the plural. It wouldn't even have been ain. Okay, it would have been something else. So to go along with the with the noun, with the article and stuff like that, everything has to match. Okay, if it's singular, then the verb has to be singular. You can't say in the beginning, okay, was the guys. Okay, you have to say in the beginning were the guys. You understand what I'm saying? Like in the He-Man Woman Haters Club or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? From the Little Rascals. You understand what I'm saying? NRK halagas. One word. One. One word. One word. One. But you're going to see that he is not alone in the second clause. So we see that the first verse is designed to give you information of the Logos' eternal subsistence. I don't like to say existence for God. I hate that word. Can I tell you a secret, guys? Check this out. God does not exist. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, Angelo. What? You heard it right. God does not exist. Well, I mean, he does, but I don't like that word for God. He subsists. There's a big difference between exist and subsist. I know I'm being picky, but that's the deal. Exist comes from the Latin word excede, which means to stand out. It implies that God has some kind of beginning. Now don't get on your soapbox and say, well, God does not exist. He subsists. Okay.
Call from 917-924-9115.
Okay. So don't get on your soapbox and say, oh, well, Angelo says that God doesn't exist. Well, I don't mean that like that. Okay? He subsists. It's just a better word for God. He subsists. And as a matter of fact, that's the Greek word, okay, for the eternal state of the Logos in Philippians chapter 2, verse 6. Huparkon means subsisting. He subsisted. Now, I know we're very used to existed. We can't do anything about that. But just between me and you, the word existed is not a good word for God. It's subsisted, because subsisted implies that he needs nothing to keep himself alive. That he came from nothing. Okay? Is that not that he came from nothing, but that he in other words, I'm trying to say that nothing brought him about. Okay, you know what I mean? Nothing brought him about. He didn't become. Well, anyway, okay, it's very hard to describe that stuff, But the thing is that he subsisted. He depends on nothing to keep himself alive. He's self-sustaining. So the word subsisted is much better than existed. But I can get into that when I get into Philippians chapter 2, verse 6. And I'm not the only one who said this. R.C. Sproul said this in a series called Foundations. R.C. Sproul, which was, a very, 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 very down to earth. But anyway, it's not really a good word when you really think about the etymology of the word, coming forth or coming out, standing out. I mean, that implies that God had a beginning and subsisted is just a better word for God. It's just better, guys. Let's just face it. All right. I mean, that's Pandora's box, opening up that stuff, NRK ha logos. Okay, kai ha logos. Wait a minute, he's the subject of the sentence again? Uh-oh, let's check this out. Okay, kai halagas ein pras tan theon. Ooh. Remember, this is the prologue. This is introducing you to the to the relationship that the Father and the Son had before they became the Father and the Son. It isn't Shay and Arche and Hahuias. It doesn't say in the beginning was the Son. It isn't Shay, okay, and the Word was with the Father. Okay? It doesn't say that. As a matter of fact, I forgot to say this. Let's go to the first clause again. It doesn't say, K-N-R-K, Ein-Ha, Angelos. In the beginning was the angel. It doesn't say, N-R-K, Ein-Ha, Mikael. It doesn't say that either. It doesn't say in the beginning was Michael. You know what I'm saying? The Michael. Doesn't say that. So the second clause introduces another character, another person. That listen, not only did Logos subsisted continuously and timelessly and eternally, but he was with somebody else. All right. Kai halagos ein was with the preposition pros. It really means facing. Okay? It means facing. It means toward. It means with. With is over here. And it says pros, and it's P-R-E-P. Well, this is a preposition. This is one of the 17 prepositions found in the manual grammar of the Greek New Testament by Dana and Manti. You know, en, ek, para, apa, hupa, kata, pros, pra, petty, all of those prepositions. This is one of them. Okay? Now, prosopan means face. Okay? Equal to, panim in the Old Testament. You understand what I'm saying? And by the way, Job chapter 13, what? Chapter 13, verse 8, something like that. I haven't seen it in a while. Means the faces of God. How about that? It does. Now it says over here, kai ha lagas ein pras with God. Over here in Greek says ton theon. Now, why does it say ton theon? Didn't you teach me that the article ha means the? Well, it can't be ha here because God, is the object of the verb. So since he's the object, another article has to be employed. This is called the accusative construction. Now, it doesn't mean to accuse, but it means that God is the object of the verb. So since he's in the objective case in English, right? It's just like the, is mirroring, okay? Okay, the accusative case is like the objective case. It's the case of the object, and among other things too, though, but so the subject of this clause, the second clause, which we call John 1:1b, the subject is logos, and the object is theon. That's why it has to be theon. It has to be ton theon. Ton is an accusative article, okay, and it has to do with objects, okay. One object, as a matter of fact, is an accusative. Now, let me see what they say down here, though. Let me see. It says ART means article. Okay, then it has a dash and AMS. That would be accusative masculine singular. Okay, because theon. Okay, well, it's not really because then you have to put it the other way around. Okay, theon is accusative masculine singular because it was written after the article ton. Okay, which is accusative masculine singular. Okay, you write the article first, and then you're forced to write whatever after that to match it. So this is the case of the object. Okay, the accusative case is a limiting case. So yeah, you know, so it says over here. Okay, all right. Let's see. I have to scroll up again. Okay, it says over here, kai ha logos ein pros ton theon. I don't see any. I mean, of course there was, but I don't see any communication over here. I see intercommunion, and that's how Murray J. Harris has it. I don't agree with everything Murray J. Harris wrote, but he has a great book on John 1:1 and other verses that Jesus is called God. I have it right here. Let me see what's the name of this book. All right, what is it? Jesus as God, big fat G-O-D, by the way, capital, by the way. The New Testament use of theos in reference to Jesus. That's it. All right. And by the way, I think the count is like 114 to 34 that theon, okay, has an article 114 times, meaning ton theon, and then 34 times theon appears without the article. And guess what? The Father appears without the article. Okay, there's no ton in front of theon. 12. Okay, what is it? 12 times, I think it is. 12 times. Not 34, but 12. Is it 12 times or 34? Let me look at the sheet. I think it's at least 34 or 12. Let's check this out. Let me see. Let me do that. I want to be factual on that. Okay. All right, page 30. Okay, let's check this out. All right, 34. Where is this thing at, though? 34. Let me see. Yep, theon appears. Yeah, I was right the first time. 34 times without the article, including 6 times in 1 Peter. How about those apples? Now, you ain't going to call God small g God because he doesn't have the article. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you this. The word God, theos, appears in many, many different forms. Okay? It appears in the Bible, theos, the word for God, okay, 1,315 times. Mount says 1,317 times, and Murray J. Harris says 1,315 times. Safe to say, 1,000 that is found 1,315 times at least. Okay, about 1,031 times theos appears with the article. 284 times, okay, theos appears without the article, which we call anarthrous, right? Anarthrous. When something doesn't have an article, it's anarthrous. When something has the article, it's articular. And you hear that in debates and stuff like that. They don't even explain it, you know. All right, so let's just finish up, guys, and let's go into John 1:1b and see with much more detail in the future, God willing, we shall do this and that. NRK ein ha logos kai ha logos ein pros ton theon kai theos. I have to scroll up. Okay. Okay. Ein ha logos. Now, I'm going to leave it right there, okay? Parting is such sweet sorrow. Just understand, okay, that theos in John 1:1c is a predicate. It's in a predicate position, okay? It's not an attributive adjective. It's not a substantival adjective, like the good and the bad and the ugly, you know. It is a predicate adjective. You have a lot of different kinds of adjectives in Greek. I mean, you have adjectival participles. You have adjectives that have to do with the positive degree, the the comparative degree, the superlative degree. Comparative is the word greater in John 14:28. As a matter of fact, he didn't say the greatest. You are the greatest, implying that he's greater than the Holy Spirit. He just said he said greater. He didn't use the superlative there. But anyway, in the relationship he's talking about of him being the greater of the two is the father and son relationship, because the word father appears 23 times, at least 23 times in John 14. But anyway, that's another topic though. But it's normal for theos in the predicate position before a to be verb like ain to be anarthrous. And as a matter of fact, predicate adjectives are usually anarthrous. Attributive adjectives are usually articular. It's not a strange thing that theos is anarthrous, because it's a predicate adjective before a to be verb. So it's just a normal thing. And as a matter of fact, with not getting into so much detail, if you had in John 1:1c, let me see how it starts over here, kai, and another linking word. And by the way, it doesn't say but. It doesn't say al-la. It doesn't mean, the Allah of the Muslims. It means but, B-U-T, but this, but that, A-L-L-A, or alpha, lambda, lambda, alpha. It doesn't say, but he wasn't God. But he was divine. The Greek word theos. The Greek word theos doesn't appear in John 1:1c, which I call the Caesarean section, because if you believe it wholeheartedly, you become born again. That's why I call it the Caesarean section. Caesarean, okay? It doesn't say that. It doesn't say, but he was divine. It doesn't say, but he was of God. The Greek word theou doesn't appear anywhere in this text, the genitive theou. You only have the nominative construction, of, say that fast, the nominative construction of theos, the accusative construction of theos, and that's it. You don't have the dative of theos, theo, and you don't have the genitive of theos, theou. I should say thea, because the thing is, that's the root. You don't have the genitive form of thea. The thea is the root. And then you just add these case endings to it to make it either a genitive, nominative, dative, or whatever. But the thing is, if you have over here, and ha theos and ha logos, man, you're going to struggle to see what's the subject of the sentence there. If you have ha theos and ha logos, then you can have a little bit of chaos, because then you're going to think, that Logos was with himself, thus excluding who we now know as God the Father from the pool of deity. And if you have ha theos, in ha logos, well, then you're gonna struggle to see what is the subject of the sentence. Why should it be ha logos as being an attributed adjective describing theos if logos is already described in John 1:1? He's described as a logos. Why describe him again as logos? You don't need ha logos being an attributed adjective of theos. It doesn't make any sense. You have to have some sort of distinction between logos and theos, and the distinction is made by not having the article in front of theos, and thus making it a predicate. And if you don't have an article in front of theos, you're having, and it's in the predicate position, and actually theos is written first in John 1:1c. Well, the attention is strictly on the logos being deity. Is stressing that fact, because in Greek, actually, the order is, and God was the Word. So you have God first, stressing the fact of the deity of Logos. The position of theos is letting you know that logos is God. But he is not. He doesn't exhaust the catalog of God. He doesn't exhaust the category of God. In other words, he is not God in exclusion to God. God who we now know as God the Father. He wasn't God the Father at the time because of scriptures like Hebrews 1:5-6, and Hebrews 5:5, and Hebrews 7:3, where in 7:3 it says, "Apater, no father; amater, no mother. He had neither or neither. I will be to him a father, he will be to me a son." That's in the future tense. So, I mean, if he was the father already of the Logos, it makes no sense in him saying, meaning the father, that he was going to be the father of the Logos if he was the father already of the Logos. It doesn't make any sense. Just read Hebrews 1:5-6, and Hebrews 5:5, and Hebrews 7:3. And verse 16, as a matter of fact, that he has an indestructible life. So anyway, guys, I'll end the study here. Okay, I can get into it with much more greater detail. So let me just read it one more time, okay, in the Greek over here. Praise God. NRK ein ha logos, kai ha logos ein prostantean, kai theos ein ha logos. Okay? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Hebrew. Bereshit haya hadavar, vahadavar haya im, ha-Elohim, va-Elohim haya hadavar. This is Angelo Quinones giving the glory to this living God and the God of Israel. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this Bible study. Take care.